No, it's great. It's great. Marcus always, ball of energy, and I think he played well tonight for not, playing live or practicing for a while. So it's great to have him back, and he made some big shots, especially that three in I think the fourth quarter, and it helped a lot.
And Brad said that he will help you because you won't have to handle the ball as much when you're playing.
No, I want to handle the ball, but at the same time, I think it's gonna help defensively. I think a lot of nights, sometimes where we don't always have it, or we could use versus Golden State where we're throwing tons of different people, tons of different players. I think it's gonna help a lot that way defensively, and offensively, he's growing as a playmaker, so I think that's gonna help.
Celtics beat the Knicks 191 in Marcus Smart's return to the floor. We're going to break this game down for you here on the Garden Report, powered by Grandstand on CLNS Radio and Celtics Blog.
Yes, I'm the boss.
Welcome to the show. I am Jared Weiss. I am surrounded by Sam Packard at WEI.
I'm everywhere.
He's everywhere. And so is Brzingod. Brzingod was everywhere tonight. We're going to talk about that one on the Garden Report. But first, Marcus Smart makes it back to the floor. There's a lot of rust to shake off there.
Yeah, we saw that on the offensive end where he didn't really attack the same way you like to see him as he's doing earlier in the season, but that's to be expected. He only really played 2 short stints tonight, 6 minutes at the end of the first quarter and at the end of the third quarter. He brought the same kind of energy that we're used to seeing Marcus Smart play with, and I thought he did a pretty good job on the defensive end, all things considered.
There were a couple plays where he got exposed offensively, and that's, I think, where we see kind of the rusty part. There was one play where Langston Galloway did kind of like a give and go in the triangle that made like a cut down the weak side of the lane. Smart completely lost him, tried to spin around, and just kind of reached out to him as he ran away. Those are the kind of plays that when Smart is healthy, he's able to kind of explode off of the turn, catch up to the guy, contest the shot. He's not at that point right now. No surprise whatsoever. If you were expecting that to happen, be a little bit patient, obviously.
And I think there was another play he got beat backdoor, but that's to be expected. I just think his mere presence on the court is going to be helpful for this team just because it allows just so much more wing depth and just allows the players to rest. And I think Brad Stevens actually used it to go small more frequently, especially in the second quarter and the fourth quarter. And so I just think him being out there, even if it's only for 15 minutes a game at this point, it's going to be tremendously helpful.
I mean, Smart said he wanted to affect the team emotionally before the game.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
I think they got the tissue boxes out of the way and they got to grinding there. And then after the game, everybody pretty much commended him, and he commended himself for kind of giving the team that spark. And that there's a lot of games during that 18-game stretch where they clearly needed a guy to give them that spark, and they just had nobody else to do it because Avery isn't really kind of a spark guy, and Isaiah is, but Isaiah is the one kind of carrying the offense. Having Smart out there just to be able to force some transition opportunities for them, that's like that little thing that kind of put him over the top tonight.
And I think that's going to be the key moving forward is just working him back into the offense and just integrating him and raising his minutes up so eventually he can be kind of that more sustained option. And I kind of liked him off the bench, but we'll see how that works moving forward.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. That debate's going to rage again. It's going to really stoke that fire again because we kind of got over it eventually. And then, of course, with him gone, there's no conversation. But now that he's back, we're going to talk about it probably a lot over the next month.
And who knows who else, if there's going to be more injuries, it could probably change 3 to 4 more times throughout the season. But right now, it's going to be interesting. But the Celtics are playing well, and they've won 4 straight.
And they've got a lot of good point guards down the pipe, especially with Washington and Toronto. There's going to be a lot of good ones in town. So let's talk about the grandstand play of the game. So we'll show you that first. Grandstand for sports fans, whether you're in the stands or you're at home and you want to see the plays from the fans' point of view, go to the Grandstand app, download it at grandstand.me or in the App Store. Let's take a look at this play. Carmelo Anthony gets his own rebound, drives on Amir Johnson, and is rejected by Amir Johnson here. Some good defense. Carmelo Anthony, what did he go, 11 for 26 from the field? He had 29 points tonight, but that shooting percentage is pretty terrible. But the guy I'm even more interested in is Porzingis, who had 16 points in only 28 minutes. He showed that he is an unbelievably talented basketball player. And at 20 years old, the things that he's doing out there are pretty incredible. Turnaround bank shots from 15 feet out, the kind of plays he makes going to the hoop, he's able to shoot from everywhere. What were your impressions tonight on Porzingis?
I was actually not that impressed with Porzingis.
Really?
He was 4 for 13. He's a giant Sean Bradley-looking Monstar man. And
I saw that photo. That was pretty amazing.
I wasn't wowed by what he could do. I thought the Celtics did a pretty good job on him. And I think he's definitely going to get better, and he definitely has potential to be a star. But there's nothing he really did tonight that was like, oh my God, Porzingis. I thought his best moments where I believe 2 times he got hit in the groin. The second time by Isaiah Thomas's shoulder, and that was just high comedy because short guys and tall guys, they go together. It's
Maybe more
fun stuff.
short comedy than high comedy.
It was a combination. It was 2 worlds coming together in great groin shoulder action.
Groin shoulder action, not enough of that on the Garden Report. You know, the most amazing play that involved Porzingis was when Isaiah drove on him, clearly knew he wasn't going to get around him, so he threw up a left-handed hook shot. I mean, obviously he's a lefty. And it was like a rainbow that almost went over the shot clock and somehow bounced in over Porzingis. And Porzingis has got like a 1.5 foot on him. Not just like a foot, but like a 1.5 foot on him. And for him to be able to pull that off, I mean, it was a real testament to how good Isaiah Thomas was tonight.
Isaiah really attacked him in the pick and roll all night, and he had success early and then kind of faded off in the third quarter and then came back in the fourth quarter. The Knicks actually cut it to 5 points, and then Isaiah had 4 points in transition. I don't think they were on Porzingis, but he was very willing to attack and go high off the glass, and that's something that we've seen Isaiah do throughout his entire time at Boston, and I didn't think Porzingis had that big an impact on defense.
All right, when we get back for part 2, we'll talk more about Isaiah's 2 big runs in the second and fourth quarter. This is the Garden Report powered by Grandstand on CLNS Radio and Celtics Blog.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I mean, part of the reason why he's, that I kept his minutes where they were was just strictly being conservative. Again, it was more of a, try to limit him to 15 to 20 minutes, somewhere in that range, and I wanted to keep him for the end of the game in case we needed him for defensive possessions. So, played those 2 6-minute stints. I thought he did pretty well, and, gave us a nice lift.